So
the kids came in this room and we had pizza and pop, as they say in this part of the country, and they came up with the concept of the explorer looking to the future, and the kaleidoscope. And the left is where we were in our history, and the right is the future.
okay.
So starting to the left was fuel clock and all of those kinds of concepts. And you can see where he has burgundy, orange, brown. He came up with color palettes for those areas. And we need a bridge, so we had a bridge over the explorer's back. Bridges the communities, bridges the people, races, sexual orientation, ethnicity. So bridging, community symbol, with an eye on the future. And we did a tree in space, in outer space. And that's the tree of life. And that's the galaxy, future visions and hope. And then we decided, as a part of that, to also put an eye looking back towards the kaleidoscope. So you'll notice in the tree, the image, there's a picture of the eye looking back towards the explorer. So the kids came up with this in about 3-4 hours on Thursday night. And on Friday, they started putting paint to the wall. And they painted Friday, Saturday. Sunday was Mother's Day a year ago. They took it off with the mural artist, Joel. He's at a refugee camp right now. He just landed in a refugee camp. He does this all over the world. He took Sunday and just did some of the higher end stuff. And they came back. The kids, it was all after school. The kids came in then Monday, Tuesday, and then we revealed on Wednesday. So 6 days. This was the concept. After that first night, he said, is there somebody local, like a woman, that would be like symbolic of like the arts or symbolic to the community? He preferred somebody who was living. So, one of my board members, we just thought about people we know. And I've known Hannah, I've known her since she was, 19, 18. And I got to know her when she was a diamond girl. And she started at YSU, studying arts, ceramics, and she's a young artist, and she's finding her path. Is symbolic to me of what this needs to be. It needs to be our future. So we came up with that concept. So then I went down and the face on the mural. I said it's going to be like the size of a building. And she burst into tears, and she was honored and humbled, and she said, "What do I need to do?" And she was already going to help with the mural anyway. But she came in that next morning, and that's where I sent you some of these pictures via Dropbox. Like, I don't know if you pulled them up.
I have, you sent them this morning.
Yeah.
And I was in a meeting this morning.
But if you pull up the Dropbox, like I said, you a whole lot of them, but that's the concept image. And I do have Wi-Fi available if you need it. There's it's called Electrical Public. So I had her lay on the brick wall in front of the hot dog shop. And that hat is my hat. I wore it on safari when my wife and I went traveling. And we needed to have what the hat would look like. So we just used a hot dog shop, and that's Joel taking pictures of
I
it.
take it you have pictures of the kids painting as well.
Oh, I have pictures everywhere. Yeah.
All right, so basically the conversation runs a conversation with you, talking about what it is that you guys do in this building. Obviously, art is a big part of this. And then transition into your pick for Hannah. See Hannah basically working at Lulu Beans with an artistic environment, and ending with the fact that there's more art coming in the way of that teacup in downtown, Sharon. So it's like the evolution of, how all these things are kind of putting together. It's in this work.
Well, and the other piece, you know Hannah, but Dino gave us one of his guys and his sprayer. And both Jim and Jen have their hands all over this project. Okay.
Like literally.
Literally.
Okay.
So that whole wall needed to be primed. We got the primer donated. Winter Companies, Karen Winter said, gave us 2 guys in a JLG lift.
Okay.
Jim gave us the painter and the sprayer. So he primed, his guy primed the whole wall. And then during the actual project, Jen was one of the volunteers who helped on it.
Do you have pictures of
I have pictures and video of her
Okay, great.
that I can send you all that fall semester. It's all up there, and there's some nice vistas up there.
Let's go up there and then we can see it. So that way we
Okay.
We'll walk.
There's bottles of water in the fridge if you need it, Ron.
All right, thank you.
Yourself, would you like a bottle of water?
I would, yeah.
Because we need to drink more water.
Yes.
Did is I was the drum major there, so they interviewed people that every different decade being out from the band. So they did a 1 hour.
What's your last name again?
Roberts.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay, all right. You just tell me what the space is about. Obviously, it's a beautiful space, right? Basically.
Yeah, it's a world-class ceramic studio, and it's right here, located on the border of Pennsylvania and Ohio. The whole concept started 50 years ago because of the relationship between a high school teacher named Frank Ross and his student, Bill Strickland. And what he learned through that relationship was patience, process, failure, and eventually Mr. Ross put an application in his hand and said, "You're too good to be in prisons in a gang, you need to go to college." So what started as such a very simple concept of mentorship has now grown into a world-class education model. There's about 10 of these centers operating right now. We have one right here in Western PA.
So this is hope, literally.
This literally makes hope, which is why we called it the Hope Center for Arts and Technology.
And
we do it through visual arts and adult job training, and where you're standing right now is our ceramic studio, which is an old Catholic school, an old Ohio public school that was given up, abandoned, blown out, and it was bought at auction, donated, and we've renovated it into a world-class facility. Just like people that are given up on, this facility was given up on. And we've poured life and hope and light into it to give people a hand up and hope.
And not just in this space, but also in this community. You guys
This whole region.
You guys had a huge project when it came to the mural on the side of Ryers. And for a lot of people, they see it every day, but to know the story behind it is impactful.
The story behind it started with a person calling me from the Park Inn, TJ Walk, and said, "Hey, we have an opportunity to volunteer, and if we volunteer with your organization, we have an opportunity to win potentially this world-famous mural artist who will come to our community and put a mural in collaboration with the community."
So you brought a group of kids together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And take me through that process, basically what you were illustrating downstairs on the whiteboard.
Yeah, so the process was once we won, there was one Park Inn in all of North America that won, and it was our Park Inn. Our kids came together with this mural artist, and in 4 hours came up with the whole concept, the history, where we've been, our future, where we're going, an adventurer looking through a kaleidoscope to the future. And then we needed somebody to be symbolic of what that adventurer was. And we identified a local woman, a local artist, who's on her path, which is not traditional. She has gauges, she has tattoos, she has a beautiful spirit, and she's figuring out her life very non-traditionally. And she's part of our arts community here. And we asked her, "Hey, can we put your face on a mural? It'll be big, 4,500 square foot wall." And she said yes. So, and she actually helped paint that mural as well.
So many people in this community helped paint that mural, from
Yes.
the kids to leaders within our community. Take me through a couple of the people who stand out in your mind on those particular days and what it means from your perspective, building
Sure.
something like this.
Sure. The actual, just talking about the mural project itself, it starts with the Winter family, and they gave us access to a lift and some of their guys to help operate the lift. We had Jim Landino, Jen, they gave us a sprayer and a guy and allowed us to get everything primed, as well as Jamestown Coating Technologies donated all the primer, Warren Glass and Paint. I mean, all these companies came together to give materials, food vendors, suppliers to feed and entertain during the week. Everybody came together, and then of course all the kids. We had 13 kids from Farrell High School, and then a bunch of local artists that volunteered their time, about a dozen, to come in and help paint the wall. And it happened in 6 days.
Unbelievable.
Conceived on a Thursday night, first brush hit the wall Friday, revealed the following Wednesday.
Would you say that was the beginning of some of the other things that were coming? Like, you know, we have the Lulu Beans Cafe. This obviously is now hugely, much bigger, and we're moving things forward in Sharon. Do you think that was kind of like the start of it?
There's been so many ripples happening, and it was clearly a big one. And the spirit of that mural, no one entity could have done it alone. Hands down. Everybody adding what they could help is what made that so powerful. So from a paint being donated to kids conceiving it to volunteers helping get the paint on the wall. And then of course the people that had a grander vision that this is possible. It's impossible. How are you going to paint a 4,500 square foot mural in 6 days? And you're going to design it with 13 kids? And this mural artist is going to fly in that works with refugee camps in third world countries to do this? How's he going to do that? Trust the process. Everybody held hands and everybody pulled together. And that's really, was like a rallying point for our community.
Right.
That really
It's continuing.
big things are
Yeah.
happening here, and we need to embrace it. And everybody needs to step up. There's no they. Well, when are they going to do? What are you going to do
Right.
to help transform this community? It starts with the artists. The artists and the visual artists think very creatively. The challenge is to see what's not there, see beyond what you see what's possible, and that's what we try to do here: is show people what's possible, give people hope. And community leaders like Jim Landino, Karen Winter said, Donna Winter, they see what's possible, and then they work about pulling together all the right resources to make it happen.
Yeah.
And everybody has to step up and make it happen in their own way.
Talk to me, hit on Lulu Beans for just a second. It's an artistic center. I think I'm just going to end the story there with,
Okay.
the talk about some of the art that's being featured there. Talk to me about what that means, and when you see it or when you walk into that place, does it make you feel like you're making some headway?
Oh, the Lulu Beans, I am so glad they're here. I knew that building as an old office building, the Petrini building, and it was an old office. And then Jim bought the building and said, I'm going to turn it into a cafe. And then Jen pulled in her visual art side, and collaboratively between the two of them and their whole vision, they've brought something to this community. There's no other restaurant like it around here. Nobody else looks like it, nobody has the flavors, the food, and I can tell you I had some friends and family that passed through. They have significant dietary restrictions, clean, vegan. I said, I know exactly where I'm going to take you to dinner. And we walked into Lulu Beans and they were blown away. And this is in Western PA. So to have that vision and then to hire the right people,
Hannah.
the people that behind, they're friendly, they're courteous, they're artistic themselves, and they work very hard. And and I know Hannah, who's on the face of the mural, I know she works there part-time as well. And it's all about that. This community, the arts, the business community, everybody has to think creatively out of the box on how to really change the conversation. And that's what this organization does, and that's what organizations like Lulu Beans does. They change the conversation and they engage people.
I don't think I could have asked for anything better than that. That's perfect, because it really pulls it all the way together.
Yeah.
Really.
Good.
That big bond one's not happening. Do you have touch-up paint for white for this?
Yeah.
I just have to erase, like, some of these pencil lines that they're not coming off.
So, but really, in very little time, it's all building the job. So we'll be able to do the cabinet and everybody, all their housing back and stuff out. So there's a lot of good stuff going on. Well, collaboratively,
I really have to see what happens the rest of the day.
where's Kira?
One second.
That's not very good.
I think this side's done. This side's done.
I love that.
Yeah, this is the story of game of taking time. I mean, we had guys in town and people around us that were trying to help us make this, and we finally had to go over and hand up. We had a company that makes props for Disney, that basically did this, right? Don't they do props for Disney? Along with other people, so. Their biggest project was a 40-foot, 35-foot Starship Enterprise. Shell on the outside that melts in your mouth.
Yeah, they said this thing will last how long?
422 years.
420.
Long time.
Yeah, 422 years.
Well, good. This is so neat.
Chad, Marcus and I are gonna lift up my hand and take
How much does it weigh?
Me and Bobby picked half of it.
How, do we know the dimensions of it?
It's 10 foot wide at the top, about 7 feet at the base.
Yeah, and I disintegrated falling into his ashes. Yeah.
Well, I definitely need to be cooler, so we need to do this either. We're gonna do this for some, whatever one you want. How much are you thinking of?
It's mine. This one's mine. Oh, actually, all the good-looking ones are mine.
Did you paint everything?
I painted everything. Everything that looks good is mine. You ever watch King Julian on Netflix?
Yes.
It's mine. I did this one, and I did this one. You can tell which one Mort did that one. I didn't do that one, just so you know. That was not perfect.
That was not.
Yeah. Jen didn't do that one either, I marked my word.
That's why there's a big circle around it.
There's another line around it.
Yeah, you can always tell. This is where the perfect circle comes from. Who can do the perfect circle? Hello.
All right. So we're going to go way back to when the Hope Foundation basically decided to take a giant piece of art and put it front and center in downtown Sharon. Take me back to that conversation, what it was like to be a part of that process with you guys, sort of working collectively.
Well, I mean, when we first heard about it, we were excited. and we were trying to, literally throw in our ideas on where we thought was the best place to put it, where it was going to be the highest visibility. When we drive around town, we see every building, every wall looks like it should have a mural on it. I mean, in most cool, funky, hip towns, that's what you find. Like in Asheville, North Carolina, there's a big rooster on the wall someplace. I mean, it just comes out of nowhere.
So to see it done and to drive past it every day, what does that feel like?
Well, it feels like we're making strides to get to a place that we've always wanted to be. So the color and the energy and, just that feeling like, okay, this isn't, dull and boring any longer. This is something completely different.
Right. The kids that played a role in that obviously are the future of this community. Take me through why you think art and culture are so imperative to that portion of our society within the city of Sharon right now.
Well, I think some of the kids just need something to grab onto, period. So like literally some are coming from broken homes. Some of them don't really have the wherewithal to get to the next level. So, if you meet with Bill Strickland, he'll talk to you and tell you about if you create something that's better than they know and you give them access to that, you'll be surprised how they'll treat it and how they'll feel and what that'll do for their energy. So that's really where that came from. I mean, if you talk to Bill, he'll talk about like schools. Why should schools not look like prisons? Because if they look like prisons, then the kids who go to school every day think they're prisoners. So instead of that, you want them to have this creativity. You want them to feel like they're involved in something that's much bigger and better than that.
But in order to make that a reality for those kids, they actually have to have, things within the community that's not just, one thing. And you and Jen and this entire town are sort of putting all of your weight behind having a different sense of culture, different options for people within this place. Take me through why it's so important to you and some of the projects that you guys are really proud of, Lulu Beans, those kinds of things thus far, to take the culture and make it a reality for not just the kids, but for everyone.
Well, I mean, we have an interesting lens to Sharon. We live in Sharon. Our front yard is downtown Sharon. It really puts us in a very unique and different position. So when we ride around and we go to places, well, we say, okay, so what does it look like? I mean, what makes us want to get out of our car? The challenge in Sharon isn't that there's no vehicles and people. The challenge is nobody comes to Sharon and gets out of their car enough. I mean, that's not that it's not happening, but the businesses that are doing well in Sharon are the ones who actually have a draw. They created a desire. Okay, this is a destination. So when you look at Sharon right now, so the coffee shop, what we're doing here, putting this up on the roof. I mean, I'm going to be very honest. I have said, if I'm a 4-year-old, I want to yell to my mom on Saturday morning, I want to go downtown Sharon and see the big coffee cup with the polka dots. That's what I would be seeing a 4-year-old or a 6-year-old. You want that energy. Mom, take me. Come on, let's go downtown. I want to see that again. It's lit up today. It's this, it's that. So get these people to feel like there's something, really that's a draw to them. And as we live there, now we're saying, okay, so we've got the coffee shop. We need more restaurants. We need more entertainment. We need recreation. Again, community development and economic development need to go hand in hand. We are absolutely focused on the community development versus the economic development side.
The artist mindset is obviously something that Jen possesses. It's all over the Lulu Beans Cafe. It's sitting right here in front of us. Is that something that you will see continue?
Yeah, I mean, everything we've done has gone to another level. And so I call it the boo-boo factor, but the reality of the whole thing is when she gets involved, it goes from straight and square, which we're all really good at, and even swoopy walls, like in our home, we have the elliptical walls that I actually said I wanted in this building because it was so straight and square, and I said we need to do something cool and funky here that makes this feel like it's not just a square building. But when Jen shows up, that's when the color, and that's where the purple flowers show up, and the pink, and I mean, if you go into Lulu Beans, you're going to see a myriad of different color lights.
Again, I need that one for me.
Yeah. Walking to Lulu Beans, what you'll see.
Start over.
Yeah. When you walk into Lulu Beans, the first thing that shows up is the colors. Right, so you have different lights. So we have lights that we call the pumpkins, and we have sea urchins, and we have flowers, and we have pears. And they're all, some are purple, some are pink, some are fuchsia, which the coffee maker in itself, the La Marzocco that's there, is fuchsia. I mean, special order out of Italy to be that color, again, to just just reach out and grab you, so to speak. So everything we've done, if you go into the buildings where we live, the offices that we've done, orange cabinetry as an example is a theme in one office that we've done. Other offices, you know, where we've gone more rustic industrial, but everything kind of has a theme that is much, much more than you would expect to see, certainly in downtown Sharon.
So the hope for the future.
Upcoming things, I mean, as we start to look at housing, because we're getting a lot of knocks at our door for housing. And again, as I look at the town, and we look at the town and say, what do we think's the draw? We think the draw to Sharon is going to be a low cost of operation. I mean, it's one of the reasons we're still there. You know, we're up to like 20 plus buildings now. And it's not that we're in the collection of buildings, but we see them as an opportunity right now to really end up with some pieces of inventory or properties or some vintage stuff that really can be rebuilt and turned into something super cool.
To be able to be a part of it.
Not the perfect circle. Am I okay, boo-boo? You like what I'm saying?
I just, what you said about the kids kind of sounded a little bit harsh.
We're gonna go back to that.
Yeah, they're editing this thing. This isn't live. I'm not on
Don't
YouTube.
have the wherewithal, and that was a little bit like.
Let's bring it back to breaking the cycle for this next generation, and by obviously giving them something that's their own is this artistic approach first.
Okay.
And hoping that it transitioned to them staying here, living here, and having a world full of culture that they did not have before.
Are we talking about, we're not talking about the needy kids now. We're
No,
actually
we're
talking
talking
about the normal population.
Normal population
Yeah.
of kids.
Yeah, yeah.
Breaking what is the norm around here is what you guys are doing.
Well, here's what happened over the holidays. So over the holidays, we run into kids that my kids have gone to school with. You know, so my kids are 23 and 26. And as soon as I saw them in the cafe, I got all excited. In the first day, he said, oh my God, Mr. Landino, I can't believe how cool this is. And I said, well, what are you guys doing right now? And one of the girls was actually a pre-med major, and she was on her way to look at a job option in Youngstown. I said, Youngstown, where are you going to live? She said, you know, you're starting to make me think we should be living here. I got all excited. I said, this is exactly what we're talking about. You know, and the other girl who was with her, I've seen her 3 or 4 times now in the cafe studying. She said, I'd love to come in here because this creates energy for me and it makes me feel, you know, comfortable and like I'm in Boulder, Colorado as an example. We've heard that. So I feel like I've had people tell us they feel like they're in Boulder, they feel like they're in Asheville. And this was the whole idea. This is in my opinion, this is part of the draw of what we need community-wise because, you know, the Mercer County statistics are poor when it comes to age. So the reality of it is we're going to have to keep some of these kids in the area and in the valley, and they need to want to live here. And we are going to do everything and have been doing everything we possibly can to try to create enough energy there for they can look and say, you know, we have good recreation, we have opportunities on the water, we have things that we want to do, biking, hiking, you know, whatever it is, rock climbing. You know, I'm still in love with the zip line right down into downtown Sharon. I feel like that's one of these draws that we would have that no one else has. So this is part of what we see as the culture.
But it's all got to start somewhere.
It has got to start somewhere. And then we've been pushing as hard as we can, you know, as a team of small players, but we're gaining more and more momentum every day. More and more people call, more and more people are excited about what they hear, you know. So I just feel like, and we feel like we just need to keep growing the energy and growing the team.
That was really good. That was great. That was great.
Talk about Saturday. What's going to happen on Saturday morning?
On Saturday, we're gonna get a giant crane. We're gonna set up in the parking lot, and then from there, we're gonna mass this 1,200-pound coffee cup under the top of the roof and bowl it down. And it should be a great moment for you, Jen, don't you think?
It's going to be a great moment.
Yeah, we've been waiting for it for a long time. This coffee cup's been in the works for well over a year. Well over a year. Probably longer than that. We've been talking about that coffee.
Yeah, well, that's before we're gonna, yeah, you're gonna have to.
And then after that, we're gonna have a cookout, hopefully with a new smoker, because we have to go get Marcus.
Somebody will do smoking.
Yeah, exactly. We'll do a few things. There's just a few gaps.
Have a barbecue sauce contest.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, this guy's gotta step up if they wanna put their sauce on.
Jimmy James is all set about. I mean, between Jimmy James and Mike and CJ and Miguel, we have 4 or 5 guys that are fighting over a barbecue champ, we haven't put the first thing in the barbecue.
Yeah. That's all today.
I think you should, because they're all hungry, I'm just showing the pictures of them.
Smile, Jim.
Smile, Jack. Be happy when we talk to each other.
No, I'm not talking about that. He always makes me smile.
That's great. That's great.
Okay.
You got those at Ryers, right?
I did.
They might end up in a commercial.
I think they always keep them alive.
Yeah, those were, kind of like one of his worst trades.
All right.
What have I got with green laces on? I'm looking good today.
Couple more.
Driver, his dad, so it was his son, Andy, dad involved, he arranged the freight.